So hello, welcome everyone to our extended UNSD Brown Bags. Today we have a presentation by Ugo Caruso and Itziar Arispe from the UN System Staff College, who will give a presentation on the UNSSC Blueline range of courses. So we have put the title here, Global Learning Hub among the UN System Statistical Community. My name is Alexander Loschke, and I will be moderating this brown bag today together with my colleagues Yusi Sang, Sean Lovell, and Panya Yu. So our colleagues from the UN Staff College will present the Blueline platform, which is a global learning hub designed by the UN for the UN. Blueline is a learning ecosystem designed and conceptualized with a precise ambition to be a unique and interagency learning hub open to all UN staff for personalized and self-directed learning. So the UNSSC team will guide you through the structure and content strategy, and will talk about the learning experience offered by the platform. In addition, the presentation will offer an overview of major trends emerging from individual and corporate use of the platform, and the team will introduce the portfolio of the UNSSC courses on data analytics, data visualization, and predictive analytics. So let me now tell you a bit more about our speakers. We have with us Ugo, who is a digital learning specialist
Hi everyone, thanks for joining.
at the UNSSC Knowledge Center for Leadership and Management. He's the learning design architect and coordinator of the Blueline platform, and he's also responsible for the user experience design of the UNSSC's learning ecosystem and R&D initiatives in the field of digital learning, AI, and user research. And then we have also with us Itziar, who is the evaluation learning specialist at the UNSSC, and she focuses on the application of technology and innovation in the area of measurement, applied analytics, and evaluation, fosters peer learning, and offers UN personnel a portfolio of courses and on-demand services on core skills and management competencies in measurement and evaluation. Before I hand over to our two colleagues, just a few words. So after the first presentation, we will stop to see if there are any immediate urgent questions, but we will probably take the majority of the questions after the second presentation, so after both presentations. Nevertheless, please feel free to write comments and questions into the meeting chat at any time. During our UNSD Brown Bags, we always encourage everyone to unmute themselves and ask the question themselves. So please don't be shy, use the raise my hand function, and then we give you the floor. This UNSD Brown Bag is being recorded and will be made available in the UN Internal Training Resources Group on the global network at yammer.com/UNstats. And we invite you, as always, to continue the discussions there after the webinar. So now over to you, Ugo. I think you're the first speaker, so please go
Sure.
ahead. Thanks
Well,
for
first of
being with
all,
us.
no, on the contrary, thank you for organizing the event and really pleasure to be with you and all colleagues in the today's Brown Bag meeting. And thanks everyone for joining and for expressing interest in the Blue Line. So what I'm going to do, as Alexander already mentions, I'm going to guide you to the structures of the Blue Line and key features and elements of the learning experience. I'm about to share my screen. So on the issues about raising hands and open the mic, Alexander, it's here if you don't mind, have a look. If I miss something, feel free to interrupt. And as I said, at the end of the presentations, we'll also have time for taking few immediate questions from the audience. Let me check. Can you all see my screen?
Looks good.
Super. Okay. Let me start with the beginning. The Blue Line, as Alexander mentions in the introductions, is a global learning app designed by the UN for the UN. We launched the platform in April 2020, but in true reality, the project started in 2018. What we've done at that time, we went into a lot of analysis, research of the challenges, feedback, elements, thanks to the other courses that we're doing as part of the staff college. And for those who don't know, I mean, the UN System Staff College is the interagency learning and training of the organizations, and we work with everybody in the system. So we took the privilege and the privileged positions to really went into a bit of research, and the outcome of that, or the direction to take, is really to produce an ecosystem open to all UN staff for personalized self-directed learning. The idea is really to use the Blue Line as a platform for system-wide exchange and really nurture the idea of a collective intelligence around the learning and training beside the different topic that we're doing, to really nurture the ongoing elaborations of different modules or different elements that goes hand by hand with learning and training. To give you an idea, from 2020 up until now, we now have more than 25,500 colleagues in the platform from different organizations, different levels, the different duty stations, all contributing and all taking courses at the same time in this interagency ecosystem that is the Blue Line. What we see, I mean, but two major trends in terms of participations to the Blue Line. Colleagues can sign up as an individual participants, or as other agencies are doing, enter into a sort of corporate subscriptions to make sure that everyone in their within their organizations could access everything that is included in the platform. As of now, as you can see, we have 6 entities using the Blue Line as their corporate learning tool, with one to be added, that is UNOPS, that is just joined last week. And so, as you see, it is a dynamic environment in which the organizational trajectory of the audience of the key agents in the system could find in the Blue Line really an aspect of outreach for a global system, and help colleagues or enable colleagues to move from their corporate learning environment to a system-wide learning environment. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the structure, how it is divided, or what colleagues will see by entering the Blue Line. And later on, we also do a quick demo. We have 3 main baskets. The first one is what we call the e-learn, our curated e-learning certificates in leadership and management. These are what we call an area that is priced against a fee. That could be individual, or as I mentioned before, could be a corporate subscription format. And in that area, we have more than 50 modules covering area like leadership, management, innovations, evaluations, managing for results, strategic planning. So everything that really we try to cover and address, thanks to the feedback and the continuous work on the analysis that we do in the platform. The other basket is what we call the Open UN. It is a growing selections of free courses. Here, what we do, and it's a very interesting typologies of cooperations and dynamic. We work with agencies in the system to design modules or learning materials that is for benefit for the UN system. Let me give you a recent example. We just finished today's a live event on the UN Disability Inclusion Strategy, and this actually came after the official launch of the module a few weeks ago. What happened in that case, and in similar other situations, we work with key subject matter experts in the system, in this case, the disability team in the Executive's Office of the Secretary General, and work together to design something that can then be made available for free to anyone in the Blue Line. The similar typology of approach, but more focus on free, just to the point learning resources, is our toolbox section, in which we actually go and not to the design of a full-fledged curated model, but more into a specific key tools the colleagues can take it, look it, see how that has been applied, and also collect some feedback from colleagues, and then use it immediately. Here as well, we enjoy extensive cooperations with other colleagues and agencies in the system. An easy example will be what we have done with UNFDA in terms of designing a tool dedicated to their experience of self-organizing teams. Now, by joining the platform, participants will what they do find in terms of resources and materials is first of all a continuously growing collections of models, curated path, because we also have there's another options that I've mentioned going forward in the presentations tools. There's example that I've just gave you. And part of our work in these continuous processes of elaborations and productions is to make sure that the colleagues could give inputs to the type of model, share feedback, and we from our side consider their suggestions and produce new models and or update the existing model. This is actually in line with the idea of the blue line continued evolving and supporting the trajectory of the organizations, consider that at a system level and that is actually part of a major investment in what we do behind let's say on an administrative side or done by the staff college. Besides the growing models, colleagues can also access a selected set of resources. In each and every module, there is a dedicated link that gives everyone free access to what we call the EBSCO database. And for those who are not familiar with that, is a database with tons of journal on leadership and management, as well as other topics. By simply going to the modules, colleagues can access and really go through the database and in case download materials and article. The third aspect that you see is the free live events with subject matter expert. What we want to say, what we wanted to do when we decided to go into the idea of offering a live event is to complement an experience that is primarily self-paced and personalized with opportunity for synchronous connection, so free live event. And this is exactly what we did early this afternoon. When that happened, what we do is that we inform everyone in the platform and we'll bring them in totally for free to 1 hour meeting in which we had the opportunity to interact with subject matter expert, most of the cases those with whom we have worked in the design of the model, and also address and take the occasions for bringing to the attentions of the expert in the system any questions that colleagues might have after taking the model or any aspect that maybe not need some clarifications. Let me put it like that. The last part is the community, the opportunity to engage with the community of fellow learners, to consolidate the learning and nurture the idea, as I mentioned before, a sort of organizational collective intelligence. How do we do that? While, as I said, is the platform is designed to offer a personalized and self-directing experience, we want colleagues, or we design activity that gives the opportunity to interact with everyone in the system. Uh, let me say that one of the really constant positive elements that we see coming out of the evaluations that we do, both at the level of the modules as well as the overall learning experience, is really the opportunity that colleagues have to discuss and engage with each other. We see fantastic dynamic going forward in colleagues taking a specific directions and continued expanding on the activity that we create, and also the opportunity that we have to kind of bring everyone together. So independently from the duty stations, grade, responsibility, organizations, and so on and so forth. The beauty of that, as you can imagine, is not only I'm able to engage with other colleagues, but I'm also able to tap in their internal, in their personal experience and any best practices or knowledge that they're willing to share. So this is something that we see really as a fantastic result of the engagement and the commitments in by colleagues in going through the extended certificate as well as the open resources that are available in the Blue Line. Now, let me continue a little bit on a few additional details on how we have structured the experience. We use micro-learning lessons, so small chunk or self-paced lessons that colleagues can take and integrate into their daily habits or the daily routine. The idea is really to offer the opportunity to segment and going back to what I said at the beginning, a personalized and self-directing experience, the opportunity for colleagues to also nurture a sort of a learning habit. And of course, part of that is it's really to avoid big chunk of content and enable colleagues to adjust and find and continuously find the opportunity to go through a manageable micro learning experience each and every day, ideally. And it's also, let me say, one of the positive feedback that we have by every time we engage with users at the end of the overall extended certificate. So when by the time we ask for a little bit of insights about the experience, and is I'm happy to report that is one of the positive elements that we see coming often in the evaluation results. The other aspect that we utilize is scenario-based learning. We want the platform to be by the UN for the UN. So by going through that, colleagues can go through management simulator, case studies, and scenario-based activities that has been designed are authentic. What we have done is work with colleagues in the system to distill and sanitize case studies, and then offer it as a let's say safe environment that can be used by anyone in the system to test their understanding on specific takeaways behind each and every online module. What we do is that, but when that happens, we give colleagues formative feedback. So it's not about grade, but it's really about suggestions of how to best use and apply key takeaways from the model, and are there for anyone to use it in combinations with substantive elements of the courses. The last part is the consolidation of takeaways that can be done in two ways I mentioned before in social learning practices. So in the peer-to-peer exchange that we see happening in the platform. But one of the things that we also do is that we enable so-called personal journaling exercise. So creating a sort of personal space for everyone to find a moment to reflect and formalize their personal takeaways on how they can see whatever they do in the module being applied in their own context. The platform goes hand by hand with the free branded mobile app that is available on both, as you can see, iOS and Google Play Store. The idea behind that goes hand by hand with the specific design of the platform. As you know, it's in several colleagues are working in duty stations in which the stability of the bandwidth is not a given, and we wanted that to complement or make sure that they have a consistent and a pleasant experience across devices. And for this reason, we went into the creation of a branded mobile app that also allows several offline functionalities. So meaning colleagues can download the modules, take it, and then complete activities, key activities, and then see the results sync when they are online. And we find it a fantastic resources also for them to going back to the idea of facilitating the implementation of a personal learning habit. Now, one of the let's say the technical developments that we've done is the creations of a dedicated chatbot, and this is Blue. And what colleagues can do in the chatbot is, first of all, go through a self-assessment. So the idea of personalizing and curating the personal learning path is also start with the idea of offering colleagues, those who may have not, let's say, a predetermined idea about the best way forward, to have an input or a suggestions on how to start this process. And Blue actually helped them, and through a self-assessment, Blue is actually sending you a report in which with the ideal sequence of modules, and you are more than welcome to take it, implement it, and schedule and create a learning path to reflect the suggestions. But you can also expand or and add additional modules going forward in the learning journey in the Blue Line. Blue can also help you block in study time. There is the possibility to indicate, and then is with the idea of facilitating the implementation of a learning habit, indicating to Blue specific time. And what Blue does, it'll send you a calendar invite to block that specific in your Outlook calendar. And last but not the least is a general guide through, as you can imagine, for any clarifications on how to find the course and learn about how to use the Blue Line. We are going to expand on the functionality of Blue in the coming months, particularly with the idea of possibly using Blue as a way to set personal goals and set personal reminder, and also use it as a way to strengthen the retention of knowledge after the conclusion of a module of a learning path. We're working on that, and this is something that will come in the months ahead. Now, um, let me go for a quick demo. I want to show you how the personalization is actually happening in the platform and how Blue is actually working, and then take any moment take a moment for address any questions you might have. So just wanted to double check, Alexander. Can you see my dashboard in the Blue Line?
Yes, yes.
Super. Thanks a lot. So it is the Blue Line is set up as a dashboard view, and this is my profile, and there is a specific learning block that through a filter menu allow participants to select either specific category of modules, or really take the opportunity to have a look at the general portfolio or course catalog. As you can see, I mean, we have set up or structured the module in different tracks or different product, depending on free or new resources of what we call the UN core. But we also have curated learning pathways. So pathways in which colleagues can take it, and is really a curated set of usually 8 to 10 modules that colleague can take. One of the things that you see reflected here, that as part of the corporate subscriptions, agency can also curate and have their own curated learning path. This is actually the case of what you see in UNOPS, UN Secretariat, or PAHO People Strategy. So when that happens, everyone in the organizations can take that one and then move on and expand on the modules that can be added to the specific personal learning path. What they do is that by simply clicking on the edit learning path, I can pick and choose module, and then by saving, have that reflected and laid out nicely on my personal dashboard. Now, what is also nice in this case to see that while going forward, because usually the extended certificate, it's an annual type of license, colleagues can continue at it, can also have the opportunity to evaluate what they've done, and take a moment to eventually see what additional elements can be included because of trajectory organizations or any other type of external need coming into the process. And here, this is Blue, and this is actually the different options that can be used by each and every participant to find the course, to help with the self-assessment, to block study time, and so on and so forth. Colleagues can also bookmark activity, and also have here, as you can see, a dedicated link to an external catalog that can be used also by those who are outside of the platform, in terms of getting prepared or have a sense of what is in the platform before coming in. Let me stop here. This was a quick demo, and then we can come back at the end of the sessions if you have any questions. But for now, let me check if there's any media questions or clarifications needed. This is a good moment, and then we can move forward and over to Itziar. Let me know. I'm looking at the chat panel, or colleagues, as Alexander suggested. Feel free to raise the hand, and happy to take any questions you might have.
Yeah, so if you have questions for Ugo now,
There is
please
one
raise
in the
your hand.
chat.
Okay, very good.
Um,
You can see it yourself,
yes.
but I can just read it. So thank you. Some quick question. What is the difference between the UN System Staff College, the Blue Line, and the UN Campus 30?
Super. No, legit question. So let me take it. And thanks for asking. Well, let's say both platform Blueline and UN Campus are actually a platform designed by the System Staff College. The main difference is that in the Blueline we nurture the idea of a self-directed learning. So we want colleagues be able to assess and formulate the personal learning goal, initiate a process in which they can select and add the specific module meeting their needs, and going forward in this learning process also cultivate a sort of learning habit, so being able to adjust, add any modules that are coming. The Campus 30, on the contrary, is a platform that we use primarily for tutor or type of blended learning, and in which we work with a cohort rather than being fully self-paced and self-directed. But both are actually part of our ecosystem, and both actually are connected through the mobile app.
Okay. Any additional questions? Um, I don't see any hand, but I would have actually one question for you. So I was taking this extended certificate on leadership and management. I really loved it, and also especially the way you can put together your range of courses and so on. One question which usually can come up also when I commented it to my colleagues is the question of cost. Maybe you can explain again a little bit
Sure.
who pays for the course and how much it costs. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, and thanks for the question. So as I said, there are two options well, better three options. There is a section that is completely free, what we call the Open UN. So when that happens, everyone in the system can sign up with their own UN email address and access the set of free courses. There is also a paid area, and in that situations, we have a paid type of individual access that is for the extended certificate about $2,000. We also offer a smaller path for a range of $750, and the smaller learning path are usually 8 to 10 modules. Or we have the corporate subscriptions, that is a subscriptions for we give access to everyone in the specific organization. There is about 85,000 annually, and gives unlimited access to colleagues in the organizations, and unlimited use of the resources available in the Blueline. And
Uh, yeah. No,
Alexander,
just
if you
as a
want, I see two other questions.
yeah.
Sorry to go.
Just a very quick follow-up on that. So, which organizations have a corporate subscription? So the UN
Mhm.
Secretariat has one. I know that.
UN
So,
Secretariat. Now we have 7 organizations: PAHO, ITC, FAO, UNFPA, and UNOPS. And when that happen, so we what we do is that for colleagues, you saw it already because you are in the platform already, but for those who are not in, what we do is that we have an internal MailChimp. So every week we share informations about new modules, live events, new products, but also about new corporate subscriptions, as a way to welcome colleagues in the platform and let everyone know about this possibility. And we see that is a very pleasant, fantastic development, also giving access to colleagues or organizations that prefer to go in the direction of a corporate subscriptions, because it's cost effective considering the number of users or colleagues that they have in their own structure.
yeah. And it's also important to point out in that respect, because I got that question from a colleague, is like, will that money be deducted from our divisional training budget? And no, the answer is no. If the UN Secretariat has paid for it, your division or your department or your branch doesn't need to pay anything. So that's a good message also. I see a question there by Gula Fatali. Thank you, colleagues. How does the Blueline decide on which courses to offer? Any chances for tailored courses per request?
No, it's a fantastic questions, Gula. We've done two things. In 2018, we went into a heavy user research and also heavy analysis of the feedback that we have received and we also involved several colleagues in a sort of pilot process, about 70, just to give you an idea, just from the Secretariat plus others from other entities, and in which we really tested them in topic, format, design of the activity, level of feedback, interactivity in the platform, and so on and so forth. This was for the first set of module. Going forward with that, there we see two very nice dynamics emerging. First of all, colleagues were keen on sharing feedback about each and every module, because each and every module goes with an end of what we call module feedback evaluations. We ask feedback about what has been the experience, whether their learning objective has been achieved, but also ask colleagues any suggestions for more to expand. And what we do, we periodically check, consolidate the feedback and plan that in our production pipeline. But at the same time, and it goes to the other dynamics that we see happening, we also work with agencies who request actually, or they are willing to work with us in designing and making models available to everyone. Besides the example that I gave you about the disability inclusion strategy, who was the last one, we also work extensively with the procurement divisions, and now 7 modules on procurement are available to everyone in the system. With the pension fund, and colleagues can now find 11 modules on that they can guide them through the pension fund. Business operation strategy, just to name a few, and that is the idea that we have in terms of content development. Last questions about, so let me jump in. Abilaikan is actually asking about access. The corporate subscriptions is to the extended certificate, so the 50 modules on leadership and management, and there is the one that there is the, let's say, the paid area, and this is the typologies of corporate subscriptions that have been implemented so far.
Yes. So, Ugo, Itziar, should we continue now with a second presentation maybe, and then we can take more questions at the end probably? Okay. So
Thank you.
Thanks for all the questions, and over to you, Itziar. Thanks.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, colleagues. So I would be brief. I have as well prepared a short presentation. Let me share the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, but it's very narrow. It looks like vertical. Yeah, so yeah, better.
Okay. So, well, thank you. Good morning, afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. I mean, the aspect of data, it's a learning topic that is gradually growing as well and expanding at the college, based on the feedback that we are receiving from UN participants. So here, what I would like to summarize is what we plan to offer in this area of data analytics on the Blueline platform. And this e-learning path on data analytics will be available from January 2023 onwards. This e-learning path actually is not something that we have decided to do from scratch. In a way, it gathers the feedback and lessons learned on 3 main courses that now we have as well available, but in the UN Campus platform. We have 3 courses already. One is on data visualization and storytelling, which is a 4 weeks course. The first 2 weeks on an introduction, and then another one on advanced topics on data visualization and storytelling. Then we have as well another course, which is called Fundamentals of Data Analytics in the UN Context, mainly for descriptive analytics. It's a 3 weeks course. And then we have another one, instructor lead, as well of three weeks, that is called Predictive Analytics in the UN Context, as well in the UN Campus. So for next year, what we have tried is to harmonize some of this content into a single e-learning path that will have 10 thematic modules. So here are some aspects that I would like to cover briefly is about the objectives of this e-learning path, the structure, the feedback, and how to enroll for those interested. So the design of our current data courses actually started in 2020 after the publication of the Secretary General Data Strategy. And well, somehow it was in the middle of the pandemic. So what we planned, it was that the courses were going to be entirely online with at the same time allowing opportunities for sharing and for peer learning. About the target audience, it was important for us to address these courses to non-UN experts, and therefore people that maybe are working in different functions, can be programmatic functions or administrative, operational, maybe they're working in the field, headquarters, and they are somehow exposed to data, either to read, understand tables, understand graphics, communicate, or prepare reports based on data. And we were thinking about developing some sort of foundational trainings, but at the same time, practical and tailored to our staff, where they could first learn even to know what are our UN data sets, all the information that is available from different portals, from different UN agencies, and then discuss about our UN reports, visualization, and learn about different data initiatives actually developed by other UN agencies. So this is the program objectives that we have for this path. The first one is about explaining the different types of analytics and their applications in the UN context. There are many courses on data analytics, but many of them, they focus on the part that is descriptive analytics. So here as well, we also illustrate other analytic types and some of their applications within the UN. Because the second objective is about to implement and scope data analysis to the needs of information from the users. What we have observed as well from our participants is that sometimes the problem is not about that they do not have data. Maybe they collect data, but maybe the problem is that they collect data without a purpose. So then here through the program, we try to orient them to plan and go through the different steps of identifying the purpose and then going through all the cycle of collecting, cleaning, exploring data, analyzing data, visualizing it, and make it available for decision making. Then some of the modules as well will cover aspects related to data visualization and storytelling. And in fact, this is one of the topics that attract more attention from our participants. And here what we try to cover are the key principles in data visualization, process of decluttering, how to focus attention, what is data storytelling, the differences between static and dynamic storytelling. And then we focus as well on other types of analytics. Actually, we cover the aspect of applications of predictive analytics. Of course, this is not a data science program, so we understand that the learners might not have experience on predictive analytics or programming. So what we want them to know is that how many UN agencies have already used and they are using predictive analytics for a long time, maybe in humanitarian context or in socioeconomic and demographic prospects. And as well, we discuss about what it is and what is not predictive analytics, the relation of predictive analytics maybe with artificial intelligence, machine learning, that not everything can be predicted. I mean, there is a lot of material there, and of course, this is a short presentation, but in case you would be interested, I would be happy as well to share with you more. As well, our approach in the current offerings that we have on predictive analytics, what we do is the development of some case studies on some basic predictive models. For instance, we have one on malaria prevalence, on a regression, another one on conflict prevention, like a classification, or we also go through the steps of forecasting a time series. And we guide them through the tutorials of how to do this. And in any case, although it's kind of foundational, what we try to do is that this e-learning path provides some sort of a comprehensive overview of the different aspects of data analytics. Then a bit about the structure. Well, I think similar to other paths in Blueline, this is composed, as Hugo mentioned, of micro-learning content for UN staff. The time expected to complete each module is around 3 hours. And well, there is a recommended sequence, but about what modules to take first and what should be the path, but it's not mandatory. And a badge is issued upon the completion of every module. What else? Then when participants have finished as well, they have 1 year access to all the modules. There is a lot of material as well in the resource section. Participants can also interact in the interactive forums, as Hugo mentioned, or share personal reflections in their personal blog. So it's also possible. Then about the faculty, the modules have been designed with professors from different university teaching data programs. Here we have IE University in Spain. Currently, we are also working with the Polytechnic of Torino, University of Chicago, Northwestern University, as well as UN key stakeholders. We developed actually one of the courses, the fundamentals of data analytics, with the UN Committee of Chief Statisticians. And on the predictive analytics, we have also worked closely with the Center of Humanitarian Data of the UN Office for the Coordination of the Humanitarian Affairs. Here we go. I mean, I would not go through the content of each module, but we just wanted to show you that the path will include 10 modules. The content is subdivided in lessons. The lessons would be, as Hugo mentioned, online, self-paced, with somehow kind of a strong interactivity component where the learners are encouraged to think, to reflect, and to explore information. And similar to other paths in Blueline, in case you have already gone through the ones on leadership and management, modules are not only lessons. Here there is important collection of resources where they can navigate, where they can share in online forums. They go to the personal blog where they can also interact with the faculty and share their personal reflections. About the tools, the course or the learning path is mainly tool agnostic. Since this is a foundational training and we try to focus on the principles of data analytics, and we have observed as well that different entities in the UN, they have different policies and maybe preferences as well about what tools to use. So we still know that many data analysis still use Excel as a main tool for data analysis and visualization. In any case, we also give them resources and give them options and information about tools that are free tools, like for instance, Excel, Tableau, there is a part that is free, Flourish, Data Wrapper, and for the predictive models, we also use Big ML. There, in terms of feedback, well, here we try to compile some sort of feedback from the courses that we have on data, the 3 that I mentioned at the beginning, just to give you a bit of who are our main target audience for this type of courses on data. We have trained so far in the last 2 years 460 participants. As you see here, we also have around 20% more female participants. There is a very wide variety in terms of grades and functions. Some of them are administrative, many from G5, G6 positions, as well as professional level, mainly P3 positions and as well P4. About organizations, I mean, we tried to count them, but we were nearly 50 entities or more, and most of them from the UN Secretariat context. We also share with them, with all the training participants at the end, a survey about what do they think about the course. Not everyone responds to questionnaires, so here I'm just putting as well some of the consolidated results of the questionnaires at the end of the course for the 3 courses that I mentioned before. The feedback is positive, and it's as well in line with other courses that we run in Blueline, and somehow it tells us as well that still data, it's an area where there are many interests, and yeah, participants are really very much, interested in working on the different aspects of data analytics. So I think it's we feel that there is a need still to promote the use of data. About how to enroll, well, this maybe I would like as well Hugo to, maybe in case there are questions about this, because what we are trying to follow is some sort of the same path as we have followed for other Blueline courses. There is going to be some sort of course individual subscriptions in case there are people interested to enroll to the path on an individual basis. We will also open the option of corporate subscriptions. And under this arrangement, as Hugo mentioned, all participants from the entities from a particular entity would have unlimited access to the path. And for those that they have already corporate subscription to other learning paths, like for instance, the one on leadership and management, probably what we would do is to add a top up to this corporate contribution to another path. So we understand that not every agency may have similar needs or same priorities for learning as well in this area of data. So we will try to accommodate to the different needs. And as Hugo mentioned, I mean, it's not only access to the modules, so we set up a community of practice. We can also organize live sessions to discuss some of the modules. Depends on how it goes. We will be able as well to accommodate more to the needs of the different participants. And I think that's all from my side. Of course, happy to take any question or any comment you may have about how to improve the learning path, in particular now that we are in still the planning phase. So over to you.
Thanks so much for this presentation also on the data analytics and data visualization part. Also good to hear that it will be probably included in the corporate subscription, if I understood you correctly. So this is also very positive. So I would like to open up now again the floor for questions. So please use the raise my hand function, or if you're a little bit more shy, please type your question into the meeting chat and let us know. So I see from Rafael, congratulations for this course, much needed. Looking forward to January. Yeah, that's really sounds very, very interesting what's coming up. Also comment from Gula that the presentation was very useful, and a lot of thanks. So maybe I have a question. So you said, for instance, I mean, with both the extended e-certificate on leadership and management and also on this learning path on data analytics and visualization. So those modules, you have mentioned it before, but how long does it usually take to complete one of those modules? Maybe you can say something about this.
Yes, I mean, on the ones on data and as well others that I've been involved in the development, I think more or less it takes around 3 hours to go through each module. Of course, you don't have to take all the module together, so you can do it at your own pace. People maybe they prefer to go lesson by lesson. Some of them they prefer to reflect, but overall, what we have calculated as well, because what we put in each module is a combination as well of the lessons with additional resources. So this is why the 3 hours would take, to go through the module and the basic material. Of course, if you want to further explore, it might take longer. But I think more or less this is the average of the e-learning path on data and evaluation. What about the other modules, Hugo?
We'll follow the same approach. Let me just to clarify that depending on the topic, the complexity of the topic, to give you an example, also when there is a broad aspect, we also split the modules. But the nice aspect of that is that, for instance, the self-paced lessons, the micro-learning lessons are not longer than 10, 15 minutes. And that is done with the idea of as Itziar mentioned, there is no need for for you to see 3 hours long, but it's always good also in terms of learning practices and tactics that you could use as a participant to better retain what you've learned, to really break in manageable pieces. And that's what we do. That is the approach that we have implemented in the design of each and every module.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, from my own experience, I can say I found that approach really useful. And also, I mean, 3 hours for a module, it's not overly long. So basically, you can do it in one afternoon or one morning, right? If you want to do it all in one run, or you can just continue the next day. There's a question by Céline Francois. What is the profile of the people taking the courses?
Well, overall, let me tell you this. There is a difference. We can, in terms of data, break the demographic in several aspects. First of all, overall, generally, we see, in essence, on every level, from senior, very senior, up to entry level staff, combinations of admin as well as professional profile, and for more than 150 duty station. Then there is globally. When we go agency by agency, for instance, in the corporate entities, that profiles, that demographic could slightly change. But what we like and the beauty of it is that agencies are actually going through corporations as a way to have everyone in, as a way to embrace the idea of this is a fantastic way to enable a common narrative around the different topic that we have, and then build on that every time when they want to do or step up with a more internal custom or specific event. That we see that happen very often. So agency, for instance, using specific learning path as a preparations for specific key events or training that they run it internally, or use modules and material as a mandatory for their own internal initiative. An example would be the competency-based interview for panel members. It is a mandatory module for the colleagues in the secretariat sitting in the recruitment panel. And through that type of dynamics, that we see that playing very nicely.
Thanks for answering this question. Any other questions, colleagues, please? Anything? I see in the chat, so congratulations from Mayam and from Javier.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for the presentation and on the courses. We still have a couple of minutes, so if you still have any questions, please go ahead now. If not, I mean, we don't need to wait here another 3 minutes and so on for questions and so on. But if you have still questions, I'm sure if you write an email to Ugo and Itziar, of course, they will be able to answer your questions. And any particular things. So please reach out to them. I see Ugo puts his email address in the chat, and it's will probably do the same. So please reach out to them. Congratulations also again from our side on this range of courses. Really is something much needed and really useful also during the pandemic, where in-person learning is of course or was not possible. So to do those courses at their own pace at home or in the office is of course a great thing to have. So now I would just, as a last thing, would like to invite everyone to put on your camera maybe for a few seconds and put on your mics, and then give Ugo and Itziar a big round of applause. Please join me in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, colleagues. Really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Having the possibility to meet you all and present you what we have done with the Blueline. And if you've not done it so far, please join the line. Really looking forward to interact with you in the platform.
Yeah, and for any question, just We are in Teams. We are, you can send us an email anytime. Happy to respond to other questions you may have.
Thanks for this, and thanks everyone for joining. See you next time for our brown bags or for our global network webinars. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too. Thanks a lot, Alexandra. Thank you, Yushi, for organizing the event. And again,
Thank
everyone,
you.
pleasure meeting you all.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.